In any case, when you're talking about valuable patents, matching patents to products is going to prove the value. If you can come to somebody with a claim chart, whether you're selling, whether you're asserting, it's going to increase the value of that patent incredibly. These days, I'm told by brokers, by patent brokers, you can't sell a patent without some form of evidence of use. So I'm going to skip through these all fairly quickly. Finding the right patents, it's about sifting through first with some automated tools to try to reduce the number to something manageable, but then you're always reliant upon subject matter experts. It's always about people who've been there, done that, who've seen this technology in use, who can recognize the potentially valuable patents and steer us towards the highest probability patents that then you invest time and effort and money in to see if you can document them. That's another example of it. This is an example of how you can go from a very large landscape of things using some automated tools, which again have to be used by some form of experts, hopefully with a training set like this. And these black docs is a training set that we use that shows where we've found infringement before. So if you found it before, potentially you can find it again. So that helps guide what is a high probability patent. How do you get to that 3 to 5% that are actually going to be useful? I'm going to skip through this real quickly. This is just some of the ways that you can look at a big market like the cloud computing market, which is 450,000 patents, and start drilling down and getting some insight really quickly. Like, that IBM and Microsoft are on top of this market isn't a surprise. Seeing Amazon down there in the middle is a little bit of a surprise. And then seeing the different strengths of people at the lower end of the scale in business process as a service is also interesting. So there's going to be some excitement once we figure out how to enforce patents in the cloud computing area. The other thing to be aware of when you're doing these things is that there's 4 different types of patents, or of solutions here. You're going to get positives, patents you're interested in. You're going to get negatives, patents you're not interested in. But you're also going to get false positives. Those ones can be cleaned out fairly easily by the subject matter experts. The ones you really need to worry about are the false negatives. So when you're doing and using these automated tools, a lot of people are using them for patent pruning to try to keep their portfolios under control. If you are doing that, you've got to be very careful about the false negatives, because you may abandon a patent that has a lot of value. And it's happened a lot in my experience. A lot of times we find a patent that we've discarded that we thought was no good, and later on it turns out to be one of our star patents, our marquee patents. So those are the false positives and false negatives. But it all comes down to doing something like this. Okay, I've got my subset, my list of patents that I think are high probability of infringement. I know who I'm going after. In this case, I'm using an Apple example. I know the patents that may apply to the iPhone, the patents that may apply to the iPad. I can list these out in a matrix. I can match it to the revenues. I want to get as close to 100% of Apple's revenues covered as possible to increase my bargaining position, and I can design now an analysis program to go out and see if I can generate the optimum number of claim charts that'll cover Apple's entire product portfolio for the least cost. So this is now proving value, and it's nice that I'm following a standard essential patent talk, because standards are one of those things that you can see them down at the bottom of this arrow. Reasonably low cost, reasonably easy, and has a decent impact. So standard essential patents have been something that people have liked to use to leverage quite a lot in recent history. Samsung relied on them heavily in the Apple case. There's been some case law and some decisions that have reduced the value of standard essential patents in the US anyways. So sometimes, and I would advocate all the time, you should be going out further and actually looking at product, doing functional testing and doing reverse engineering so that you can show very precisely, element by element, some of your more complex and detailed patents that cover perhaps, maybe not standard essential, but feature essential features that really drive the demand for these products. And these are some of the different ways that we do it, through looking at circuits, extracting circuits from a semiconductor or a system board that'll tell you how the thing operates, looking at the process, the materials that it's made of, and the methods that it's used to make it, or looking at the system, which might be the software or the algorithms that run the product. And that's just the process. So Essentially, what you need to do is generate a claim chart, something like this, that's detailing every single element of the claim, maybe first by using some of the cheaper methods available, which is publications, perhaps standards, and then where necessary, diving into the details and showing the elements off the product. And that gives you a whole bunch of options for monetization. You can sell, you can privateer, you can go off and establish your own licensing programs. So just in summary, valuable patents, rare, hard to find, 3 to 5% is the industry norm. And in today's licensing litigation environment, you really do need concrete evidence of use. Many countries don't have discovery. You need to understand what you're getting into before you launch a lawsuit or before you launch a licensing campaign or even send a notification letter. And we're seeing enhanced pleading standards being proposed in the US as well as in a lot of different places. So you need to have that firm evidence. Thank you.